This episode is brought to you by Spas and More.
I just believe in the power of healing and restoration. And I know that if we can just come together and speak about the hard things, we can finally begin to heal. So, this is where we heal.
Welcome back to another episode of This Is Where We Heal. I am Ashley, your host, as you know. Today I have a special guest. I say that every time, but this time I really mean it. We have a reoccurring guest today, one that was your favorite based on the numbers, Xavier Smith.
Hello.
Also known as Xaviertainment.
It's weird. It's like Xaviertainment. But yeah, I'm Xavier, the relationship coach, and thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
The last time Xavier came on, we talked about manipulation, gaslighting, and all the things that cruddy men do to women to get them under their wing and keep them trapped and, well, in other words, just using them. And so today I am bringing him back because that went so well. It was something that people needed to hear. It's hard to believe that there are people that can actually act that way on purpose. That was the thing that really got me.
Yeah.
Was the way that people will act purposefully to hurt you, control you, manipulate you, gaslight you, demean you, all these things. But we're going to talk about all kinds of stuff today. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about the way that women dress. We're going to talk about, which don't go yet. I'm just hear me out, okay? Hear me out before we get there. And what else are we talking about today?
Okay, so do you want me to get started?
Yeah, just dive in. Go.
Okay, so last time we talked about manipulation and we talked about some of the commonalities. But this time, what I'd like to bring forth is how to identify it even deeper. Because there's a lot of talk going on the internet where there's a lot of blame on women and isolating their behavior. But what I'd like to point out that I think both men and women can equally agree with is the simp culture. Because, and just for those of you who don't know, simps, at least from what I've seen, because I know not everybody's like this, I don't want to generalize, but there's a group of men that actually don't value themselves and they don't value women as women. They look to use women to make them feel better about themselves for the life that they're not working for.
Ooh. So
these men exist in a lot, and it hurts good men. Because there are a lot of good men out here that are intentional, that have principles and values that are working towards a purpose. They want to build so that as a woman, you can come in and feel like you're just soft in your energy. But then there are men that want to use you that make you feel like you have to have a defense. These men are, and just to kind of shine a light on this, you've got these kind of guys in so many numbers. If you look at the industry of like OnlyFans, nothing against it, and then you look at porn. If you see 70 to 80% of men are the ones that are subscribed to OnlyFans.
Well, of course.
And then you've got the porn industry, over 70% is being consumed by men.
Of course.
So these are millions of men. And there's almost no age range that they're willing to go to. So if you look at the stats even deeper and you look at Lil Tay, when she turned 18, she was 17, she turned 18 within 3 hours, there were millions on her plate. Then you look at Bad Baby, which is a rapper. She ended up getting millions the day she turned 18. She was on a podcast and they asked her, they said, "Do you think those men deserve to be in jail?" And she said, "Yeah, you can look it up." So these women know that before they even turn 18, that there's a mass amount of men that are giving them the eye. These men exist not only in our families, our friend circles. These are men that don't always tell you who they are or where they exist. And when they pursue women, so then they're saying online, right? Like, "Oh, well, I think the red pill guys will say this," because girls will be like, "I can't find a good man." And the dudes will say, "Well, you got to go to your DMs where all those dudes are missing. They're missing from your DMs and you're overlooking them because they're invisible. They work at Wendy's. They're flipping burgers. They don't have the most fantastic jobs. You're looking for superficial, and that's what it mainly is." I know so many powerful women and so many willing women that have signed up for those guys for that particular reason, of course. And they were like, "Okay, well, he doesn't have much, but we can work together. I can supplement that." And then this dude burned them anyway because this dude didn't work on his own life. And not saying all dudes are like that, because I'm sure there's a group of men that are great regardless of where they work. But they've had these experiences where these guys would use those women
To make them feel better about themselves.
When they weren't fulfilling their own purpose.
So I'm going to stop you right there.
Okay.
I thought a simp was a completely different thing.
What'd you think it was?
So I want to get really clear on what that even means. Because in my mind, I always thought that other men classified the men that were intentional, that were consistent, that not worshipped women, but in their mind gave women special treatment because they had a good heart. I thought that was what they considered a simp, like the kind of guy that really wants a woman, that really pursues women, that really, caters to women and being polite. I thought those were what we considered simps.
Oh yeah, that's where the confusion is and some guys do tend to shame dudes that are just good to a woman.
Yeah.
But no, simps are a different layer because what they do is they use women as a fantasy because they're not fulfilling themselves. They overvalue. So you'll hear it in love bombing. Well, this guy's love bombing me. Why does he like me so much and he barely even knows me? And the reason that's happening is because he's assigned you a value based off his fantasy, because he's living in his fantasy world, coping with the fact that he's not getting where he wants to be. So that's why these guys try to sleep with you so quick. And they get
to lock you in.
Because they think they become CEO of your life. You become a consolation prize. You're not even a person. So it's like, how can I get this woman to see me as amazing? And for my friends, my bros, to say, oh man, congratulations, you got that girl. You're God. Because think about it. To get to a high place in life, higher status, I have to work. I have to work from the ground up. I have to try and do things and fail and try. With a woman, I can say, oh, I love you. Oh, you're everything to me. And I just feed you these lies. And then you allow me in. And now I'm like, well, I got you. It's over. So now I start flipping the script. Now I'm getting you to follow me, and I can tell my friends. So
even though you can't lead yourself.
Exactly. It's fake status and fake value, but I can use it to go to my boys and be like, look, I got this girl. She's like a 10, and she's coming after me. I don't have to work a better job. I don't have to change myself. I don't have to work out and become somebody when I can still get her.
I've actually dated a guy like that.
Really? How'd that go?
Not great. Guess what? He burned me. After I gave him money, which now hindsight 2020, I'm looking back and I'm like, I see where I went wrong in a lot of ways, like overlooking the red flags, overlooking the love bombing, overlooking the words that didn't match with actions. Like I overlooked a lot of things. He didn't know who he was. He didn't have a great job. He was exactly what you're describing, like very insecure about who he was and using someone like me as a way to make himself feel better. And yeah, I got burned. I got burned because once that's life. That's experience. That's what it's what happens when you're dating and you're putting yourself out there, right? But yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah, and it hurts because, guys who are more intentional, especially clients I've worked with, they meet women, but now because they've been through those guys, they don't know who to trust. Because like I said, if you have all of those dudes watching the adult content that exists in our families and our friend circles, there are men that looking at women under the age of 18.
Which is so gross.
And that was proof of it. So there's millions of predatorial type of men that are just looking at women as objects before they even turn 18. And then those women get burned by older men. You've got 18-year-old women that have 40-year-old dudes coming around that play game on them. So then by the time an intentional dude gets there, she's like, I can't tell. Are you one of the good ones? You're a little too nice. So then we need to give grace, right?
But I'm also like young women. I just want to be like, don't date men that are 20 years older than you. What are their intentions? You know what I mean? You have nothing in common. You have nothing in common.
Well, see, that's when we can start looking at another piece of evidence, right? A lot of women don't have father figures.
And it's different. There's a difference between, a 30-year-old woman dating, a 50-year-old man. There's way big difference, right? But I'm talking about like you're fresh out of high school. You have no business doing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm like... What?
Barely 18. You have no... Like, for example, I dated somebody when I was 15. My first boyfriend was 21. Like, obviously now, as a 38-year-old woman, that age difference wouldn't be a big deal. But at that time in my life, that was a significant difference because your mind you're in completely different places in life, right? He's going to bars, he's partying, he's doing all the things with his college age buddies, and I'm literally a freshman in high school. It doesn't make sense. It's like, what is that person really trying to get?
Yeah, no, as I've gotten older, I've realized how much I can't relate to women that are that much younger than me, you know? And I don't know what they're looking for, but I don't think it's an equal, you know, or anyone of that nature. Which brings me to that point, right? Like, I forgot what I was going to say.
That's okay. We can clip this out.
Yeah, but what was I saying? I was on a roll.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you. You were talking about Bad Baby and Little Tay and how there's those types of men just already waiting in line.
Yeah. So, and granted, you know, there could be multitude of reasons why that's happening, because then we'll get two sides of the argument. Well, you know, she did this and he did this. But let's just look at how that affects people. When you have a household where you don't have a good male role model, forget father. Male role model. You've got the same dudes that will advise women, oh, you should be dressing a certain way. You should be acting a certain way. And that's why you can't find a good dude. You're out here with all these guys. You got to stop being out here. But then these same guys will go off and do the things to women that he just told this woman not to do. So she's like, wait, are you supposed to be an example of what good looks like?
Yeah.
Because you're the same dude that goes out here and you're sleeping with multiple women.
Yeah.
And you're telling me not to.
Yeah, it's the same guy that says you shouldn't dress like that, but will subscribe to OnlyFans. And it would subscribe to yours if you were on there.
I got an even better one. It's the same dude that sits at home watching OnlyFans, but then goes out in public and says, women are not wife material anymore.
Yeah.
They're not wife material. So
but he's supporting it.
And then they say women are the reason for the breakdown of society. When they came into the picture and they started calling all these shots, it ruined everything. I'm like, what about the millions of guys that are not doing their part, that say, I'm going to be away, and then they do the complete opposite, that are not showing up and they're lying? Mm-hmm. You know, so you've got millions of women who are affected by those men.
Yeah, they're like, I have no respect for women in, you know, the porn industry, but they're the number one subscriber to porn sites.
That type of double standard is why it's confusing for society. There's a supply, right? There's like so anyway, the point is they are causing women to give up. So now you see a mass amount of women that don't see those guys, that haven't met a good guy in their life. And they're like, I don't even know what that looks like since I've been younger. Mm-hmm. Then they say, you know, women are so masculine now. They're so masculine.
Because they have to protect themselves
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, did you ever think that maybe there's a masculinity here, or I don't even want to call it that. There's a defense, because they, through their whole lives, have been trying to defend themselves from men like you.
Bingo.
There's so many of you. I don't understand the cognitive dissonance that men sometimes will live in, where on one hand they're like, oh, it's okay for me to sleep around with multiple women, indulge in my lust all the time, 24/7, which is basically killing us.
Yeah.
But then go out and say, I want a wife, or I want a woman that doesn't do any of that.
But yeah, I don't like women that do that. I
don't like women that do that, but I like women that do that. Like, I can't.
I want a woman who's only been with 3 people, but I've literally been with 300, right?
Yeah, and then I don't want her to shame me for my 300, because there's a masculine imperative.
Yeah.
But think about all the women that you've went through and what that caused to them, because a lot of these dudes, they don't have it like that, where a woman will just walk up and they're like, drop your pants. Right. They can't do that. That's not how it's working. A lot of these women require an emotional connection at first.
Most women.
Yes. So
almost all women.
So how are these men sleeping with all these women?
Lying. Pretending. Grooming, if you will.
So they have to sit there. This is what I mean by the simp culture. They have to sit there and they have to overly convince. They take time, energy, and practice, and they're putting it in and pouring into this woman to get something out of her. And then they're like, oh, I can relax now. And that's when you hear women say, why was he so good in the beginning? Mm-hmm. That's why I think we need to extend the amount of time that we give physical intimacy. Because I know we had like the 3-month rule or whatever. Extend it more. Do like 4 to 6 months. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm not saying you have to. Hey. But
well, here's my thing. Yeah. I truly, fully believe that, like, and this goes into the way that women dress too. And we'll get into that because there are different types, right? Mm-hmm. But a man that hasn't earned to even see your body shouldn't have access to it like that, right? Like that is something that should be earned through trust, security, consistency, and genuine affection and love, right? Commitment. Those are the things. That's something that should be earned. And furthermore, it's not just about men having to earn that part of a woman. Men should value themselves enough
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is a sacred exchange. It isn't just about the woman. It's about the man. A man should value themselves enough to go, you know what? I'm not just going to sleep with anybody. Like, my energy is valuable too. My body and my sovereignty is valuable too. You should be very selective about where you're putting your energy and who you would give your body to, because it's a sacred act. It's a spiritual thing, right?
I agree.
And so it's not even just about women should be doing this. Men should be doing it too.
I agree. And honestly, like, I could even say from personal experience, I've unsubscribed to, sleeping around like that. Like, now I got a 3-month rule, 3 to 4 month rule, because I need to know that we are both trying to serve a purpose here. Mm-hmm. It's not just about using each other. Mm-hmm. And if we need that from the beginning in order to make this work, then are we truly a team? Because teamwork comes outside of that. Like, I ask people all the time, can a marriage survive a little, let's just say for a period of time, you couldn't do it with each other. You couldn't have sex. Could you survive? And they're like, yeah, because you have the partnership, the friendship, the purpose.
The foundation.
Exactly. So then I say, but could it survive on sex alone? And then they'll say, oh, well, no. And I'm like, so then
which is more important?
Why are we diving into that? Like, it's number one. But that's when I think some people are just not interested as much in actually learning about each other. We want to jump straight for the good part. But they don't understand that if you're intentional, you avoid a lot of things. You avoid STDs. You avoid mixing spirits and energies that don't align with you. Mm-hmm. You'll wake up some mornings and be like, why is my chakra off?
Chakra.
Like, I don't feel like I'm goal-driven anymore. I feel depressed. I feel used. I feel like
because you've been giving your body out like candy.
That's what I'm saying. So what it does is it creates a pattern in your head of just constantly using people. Think you have to go into a kind of dissociation when you're sleeping with someone that says, okay, I want to be intentional with you. And you're like, well, maybe, but I'm just going to sleep with you. I'm going to get intimate. I'm going to kiss. I'm going to do all the things that my brain identifies as affection. And then I'm going to turn it off. And then have a moment with you, then walk away. You do that multiple times. You do become numb. And then you say, okay, well, I'm going to find a wife now. I'm going to find a husband. And that's not even going to mean anything to you anymore. You've built a pattern in your brain subconsciously with your nervous system. So then people will say, well, why don't I feel comfortable when someone's healthy? The pattern you've been indulging in isn't allowing you to see that. You got to practice being intentional. So now their minds are like, I can't even be normal anymore. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you built this. What you do in the dark and what you do behind the scenes is going to come to light. Mm-hmm. It's going to come, and you're going to not feel in alignment with your right intentions, with the better part of yourself, if you keep indulging. Because these things, they're like frangible bullets. So I don't know if you heard of a frangible bullet. Mm-mm. So there's a regular bullet when it's shot out of a gun, and it just hits you and it's whatever. A frangible bullet has different shards in it that are kind of pieced out. So it doesn't puncture as deep. So it feels like, it's a bullet regardless, but it breaks apart. And when it breaks apart, it hits different organs inside of you. So when you do this one little act, because sometimes they downplay it. They're like, oh, you just sleep with one person. Oh, you just eat this one piece of cake, or you just drink this one piece of alcohol, and you'll be fine. But you don't understand there's different parts of you that are getting hit. Mm-hmm. So even though it doesn't seem that crucial, which, you can have fun sometimes, but it's hitting parts of you that you don't even realize. Mm-hmm. So then when you can't function normally, you're like, why is that happening? I don't understand. Now I have to go to therapy. Now I have to go to counseling. What I see in my office is a lot of people that thought I was just doing this. I was just spending time here.
I was just having fun.
Yeah, it wasn't no big deal. And then it piled on, it compounds. And it's kind of like, fast food. And I'm not going to name places. I don't want to get sued. But it's like fast food. You think, it's just a quick burger. It's $1, $5, whatever. But then there are ingredients in there. There's preservatives in there that are meant to activate spaces in your brain that are not natural to humans. So then even though you're just eating this one burger, now you crave 5 more. Mm-hmm. It doesn't actually fix your hunger. That's how I feel about lust. Mm-hmm. I feel like lust is an unquenchable thirst, and it traps you because the more you do it, the more it becomes a Band-Aid. And then that Band-Aid gets bigger. So then when you're like, I just want to quit. I don't need to be doing this. Now you got the craving. See, it captures you and it creates the illusion of you're going to be done. There's not this one point you get to where you're like, I slept with this one person, it's over. We're done. No, you keep wanting more. It gives the illusion that you could be done. Mm-hmm. And lust can come in the form of physical intimacy, or it can come in love. Because I've seen men and women chase love, and they prioritize it so much that they ignore all of their better judgment.
That's so
all
true.
of the red flags, all of the bad things, because they're like, I just want to feel love so bad.
Yes.
And it's like, but you know that one of the best places to feel love without it backfiring is through servitude. If you got enough time to sit here and to think about love and to fantasize about love and the fantasy, you have enough time to go out and serve people. You can go help people that wish they could be bored.
So wait, but what you're saying really is that there's more to life. Like
yes.
Like if you want love, you want connection, you want community, there are other ways to find that outside of romantic love.
100%.
And that's like such a beautiful message, and what I want women to hear, in particular women, but everyone, men and women, is that like, yes, romantic love is a beautiful thing. We all, deep down, if we're honest, we all want that, right? We all do. It's just kind of, it's ingrained in us as a human being. But there is more to life than just romantic love. And when you stop chasing romantic love only, you open yourselves up to the million ways that you can find love in other ways, through other things, through other people. Right? And that's such a beautiful place to get to. And then you're no longer lusting for love. You're no longer craving romance. You're like, my life is full because I feel love in everything I do. I feel love in every interaction that I have. I feel love through all the people that are already here. You know? And
I think that comes, I love what you just said, and I think that comes with more gratitude.
Yeah.
I think people don't practice gratitude enough. And when you don't practice gratitude, you don't practice accountability, it starts to turn to like those 7 deadly sins. So it starts at number 1, which is pride. I'm above having to worry about that because I just want the next thing.
Yeah.
So when you start to go there and you're not thankful for the things that you have, there's only but so much you can acquire. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to go to that unquenchable thirst.
You said something yesterday that really stuck with me, and I want to
go for it.
Try to correct me if I get this wrong, but you said something about romantic love isn't guaranteed or something like that when we were talking. What was it that you said?
It's not, you're not entitled to it.
Yeah. And yes. And that really hit me because it's like we spend our whole lives thinking that we're owed a romantic, loving relationship. Right. Mm-hmm. And then you and I, as we were talking about it, it like clicked with me that like, yes, you are deserving of being loved. You are worthy of it, but that's not a guarantee.
No.
And that's why it's so important to find the meaning of your life and the purpose of your life outside of just that.
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. Because it isn't a guarantee. And we're lying if we act like it is. We're lying. Not everyone is going to find the love of their life in this lifetime. It's just not a fact. You can't guarantee that. So why not find purpose in everything else first?
And that's also going to be the safe space you can go to when love isn't working out. Mm-hmm. Because what happens when your partner's going through something? Or when you're going through something? Or when your marriage isn't going so well? If you are that dependent on them loving you to fill that void, then it's going to break down because you're going to say, oh, wow, that void I have is back. There needs to be times that you're able to settle down in your own and say, okay, I know where I can go, where I can feel good about myself, even though my person is going. Because there's sometimes they're going to need you. Mm-hmm. They're going to be at a 2 when you're at a 10. Mm-hmm. And they're going to need you to help them along until they get back right again. Mm-hmm. That's why we're a team.
Yeah.
But like you said, I think some people are so hyper-focused on love that they ignore so many other blessings that they're getting.
Yeah.
And they almost devalue the other blessings that they get. So then they're like, my life sucks because I'm not finding love. I'm not finding it. There are people that don't live past the age of 12.
Yeah.
The age of 14 that will never get a chance to experience prom, love, marriage, any of those things. Why do you get to say, well, I gotta forget everything else in life. I got to have this and just
or I'm owed that.
I'm owed that. Yeah. So I can understand wanting it. I do too. We all do, like you said. Mm-hmm. But to say I'm entitled, I'm going to act as if, because if you think about it, expectations, they cause disappointment. Mm-hmm. When you say, I expect this, something in the universe that hasn't been guaranteed to you, or something that you've never had before, but all of a sudden you want it now. And then you say, I'm going to live for that. Then when it doesn't work out in any form, you're like, oh, dang, now I'm upset. I'm upset at that person. I'm upset at the universe. I'm upset at my prayers. But at the same time, what about the things that were given to you that you could be happy about right now? It's like you're creating your own misery, and chasing this carrot that doesn't ever come to fruition because it's always the next thing. At some point, you got to say, I'm good here.
Yeah.
Like, this is nice. Of course, I would love more. Of course, that'd be a bonus. But I'm thankful. I'm humble.
And
right?
when you come into alignment with your life and a purpose outside of those things, the way that you view relationship looks different. The way you pick a partner looks different. The red flags that you saw before that you overlooked, you don't overlook that anymore because you're really content with who you are. You're really content with your life. You don't want something to come in that's going to damage that. What you want is something that's going to come in and going to be harmonious with the life that you're already living, right? So you don't, and it's not even about tolerating less, but you do tolerate less because you value your own peace. You value your own life. You value the things that you already have, the community you already have. You wouldn't want someone to come in and destroy that. You'd only want someone that could come in and actually make sense with where you already are, right?
I agree. So I think that there's like a weird, kind of alignment, right? Because like I talked about simps before. So within these simps, there are the manipulative ones and there's narcissistic ones. So you got women that, and I talk in particular about a group of women. It's not all women, but there's a group of women that have been failed by people in general, but men in particular. Their father, was not there for them. They were a deadbeat or they were manipulative or abusive. Then they continued to have a perpetual pattern of meeting men in that regard that were manipulative boyfriends, abusive, sleeping with every girl, lying. So what it does is I've seen it create an energy in a woman where she feels like my only value comes from how much I work. Because now I realized I had to work for my dad. I had to work for my boyfriend. I had to work for my job. It's this earning. So now they don't feel like they can be loved just as a person. I can't just be loved for me. I have to always be in this try to get reciprocation, right? So what this does, unfortunately and inadvertently, is aligns with these dudes that want that. Because like you said, if you're at peace, you don't want someone to come in and ruin it.
Yeah.
But these dudes are not at peace because they're sitting down, not going after their goals and ambitions and their visions.
Yeah.
They're not living by principles and values and standards. They just want quick, instant gratification to be the Band-Aid. So they go after those women in particular, and they come on board. They don't have cars, they don't have jobs, they got baby mamas, and they're like, oh man, if I could just, but they look at you and they're like, I could just love you so hard. I could give you that love. And because that's one of the main things she's been lacking, she's like, I could finally show up. But then because he's at a low point, she's like, well, I can bring him up.
Yes.
I can help him out. I can fill in those gaps and I can change him.
I can save him. I can help him find his purpose. I can give him the resources I have. I can pull him up to the top. We can do this together. And my love for him and all the things I invested in him, he's going to love me too.
Exactly. So I know the trick.
And then you do it and they're like, see ya. Thanks for all the hard work.
Or they keep you on board. But then they look for other women too because as a person, you're just not enough. I got to have more. I got to have a harem. I've got to have concubines, right? They're like King Solomon without the Solomon money. By the way, what is with all these dudes talking about how many women they want in a relationship? They're all poly, but they don't got poly money or resources. Like, if you're going to talk about that, I feel like you got to be at a certain status,
Relationship comes with responsibility.
Exactly. That's when you know, is it really that you want it or is it that you're just lusting? Because if you really love someone, you love them for the version of them that they are, not the version of them that you want to see.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of simps do. They see you as a version that they want to see. But then when you start showing that you're a real person.
Yeah, with real needs and wants and desires as well.
Which exist, and some of it that exists outside of what they thought you had, then they start to make you feel funny.
Yeah.
Now they're starting to breadcrumb you. They're starting to run game because you're not the person that they fantasized.
And you're inconvenient now.
Exactly. But because they can't go out there, they can't get other girls because they suck. They're like, I want to keep you anyway.
I'll keep stringing you along until something better comes
So they don't
along.
actually like you. That's the thing about simps that makes them so bad. They don't actually like the woman that they're getting.
No, they like what they're getting from the woman.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why it's also that's why even as dudes we look at that because we're like, yeah, this dude will say I love you in a week, but he's playing with you. And now we got to sit back as intentional guys and watch this madness unfold. And we hate that because we're like, man, you could do so much better. You deserve better than this guy that's sitting at home, checked out of reality, watching porn all day. We want to see you with somebody that can give you the same energy that you give.
Yeah.
So
and then what happens is the good men then are left with the trauma that woman has to carry for the rest of her life, that woman has to get therapy for, that woman has to heal from. Right. And that's where I come in, because I've been there. I've been that woman. I've been the woman that was in a pattern of choosing toxic, abusive men. And it wasn't until I realized that I was part of the problem. And it's not that I deserved what they did to me, but I allowed it. I tolerated it. And it wasn't until I got really honest with myself about, do I even love myself at all? If I would keep allowing these types of men in my life and going, no, I don't. You can't love yourself and let someone treat you like trash. You can't love yourself and let someone use you, knowing that they're using you, knowing deep down they don't love me. You can't possibly love yourself and keep doing that over and over and over again. And once I realized that, and I thought, okay, it's time for me to like love myself more than the love that I think I need from people that don't actually love me anyway, that was when my life changed. That was when I changed. And that was when I started choosing differently. And now the types of men that come in my life are 100% different. They're 100% different. They're consistent. They're stable. They have like a vision for their life, right? They're not using me to get somewhere, right? And that's like my main thing for women is to learn is that you're worth more. You're worth more than that kind of a lifestyle with someone. You're worth more than someone that's just using you to get ahead. You're worth more than someone that's just using you for your body to make them feel good about themselves. You're worth so much more than that. And when you realize that loving yourself is the ticket out of those relationships, your whole life will change.
So, and I think they might struggle with, because what you said is perfect. And it's good that they see that you're an example. Mm-hmm. So a lot of these women who have been let down so much throughout their lives, and they have trouble seeing that because they're like, well, if that's the case, then why did my father not be there for me? Why did he abandon me? Why did my boyfriend treat me so bad? And why does it feel like every time I show up somewhere, they're like, you have to be this for me. You have to play this role in order for me to love you. How does she get past that?
You can't control what other people do. That's why it has to come back to you, because you get to control who you let in. You get to control the kind of behaviors you'll tolerate. You get to control the kind of things that you will take personal or not take personally, right? Like if I was to start dating a guy and I started seeing the red flags right away, it would be on me to overlook that. It would be on me. That's on me. Do I deserve what he's going to do? Do I deserve the manipulation? No. Do I deserve the control that he's going to try to have over my life because he doesn't have any over his? No, I don't deserve that. But it's up to me to decide if I'm going to tolerate that or not. And if I love myself, I'm going to be like, no, thank you. No, I love myself too much to let somebody come in my life and destroy my peace like that. You know what I mean?
So then I think there's also a question that women have of the lack of options. They'll say, well, I don't meet those guys. Like, why am I not meeting them? Why are there so many guys? And like we talked about, statistically, there's a lot of them. So if she feels that she can't find a good one and she has to do what she has to do,
that's when you stop looking.
Okay.
Personally, I think that there is a season in every woman's life where she has to find her own sovereignty, where she has to build her own life for herself. You stop looking. You stop looking and you start trusting that if there's a person out there for you, they're going to come. They're going to come in the right time, when you're ready, when they're ready. You stop searching. Stop searching. This is going back to the idea of lusting for love. Like, you have to stop looking and lusting and begging for something that will come to you when you're ready for it, right?
Yeah, and then this brings up another point that I hear, from my clients in particular. They'll say, well, what I've noticed they do, and I don't know if every woman does this, but what they'll do is when they date one guy at a time. Mm-hmm. And not saying you shouldn't, I'm not saying sleep with everybody, but I'm saying, maybe we should stop focusing on the romance and focus more on the compatibility at a friendship level. Mm-hmm. Because if you're looking for one and done and spend the rest of my life, then you kind of want to know that there's a friendship compatibility to begin with. We jump straight to romance. We jump straight to romantic interest, which is okay, but make sure you're prioritizing the friendship portion. So, but what they'll do is they don't date that much. They stay at home. They go out with one guy every 6 months. Yeah. And I think the amount of dudes that are diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder is like in the millions.
What?
Yeah, it's like in the millions. So if you've got a town where there's only like 200,000 dudes. And
what is it, like 1% or something of them are narcissistic?
Yeah, something like that. So if you're like, but let's say just outside of that, they just have personality issues. They're not emotionally intelligent. They're not able to supplement your needs. So emotionally or otherwise, how should she date? Because if she gets attracted to one guy in particular for within the 6 months, and that dude happens to be a jerk, now she's broken from that. So what I usually say is you should focus on making more friendships with potential rather than, and the way you do that is by not getting intimate. Hold off intimacy because, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, right? But people are like, oh, be sex positive, be positive about it. Yeah. I'm like, but STDs, but soul stirring, right? Yeah. Like you've got spiritual connections without knowing that person and their core. Because you could say, okay, yeah, I know this person. They told me within a week who they were. But realistically, it takes about 3 to 6 months of consistent action. So then women will even say, well, he was different in the beginning. So I'll say, well, how long was he different? They'll be like, oh, a month or two. I'm like, you got to have a re-up policy on this. Corporate companies, they have a thing called a file review, at least the ones I know. And what happens is they say, okay, we're going to take you on board, but in about 6 months, we're going to review what you do. And then every 2 months to 3 months after that, we're going to look at your performance and say, do you still qualify? I don't hear women doing that as much. And I think that needs to be instilled in a dating community. If you're with someone, you need to sit down every 3 or so months and say, are we happy? Because one of the major problems is someone will say, I'm not happy. I'm not feeling the love. I'm not feeling the connection. And the other person will be like, oh, well, there's something wrong with you. Yeah. And then they're in this cycle because they're like, oh, well, I don't want to say anything. I don't want to be too loud. Then you regress into that, I just want to please you response. While the other person's like, oh, I don't have to show up. I don't have to be accountable. Yeah. One more thing. I think people who are not accountable should not be in relationships.
Well, but that's the problem. If they're not accountable, they don't know that.
Well, they're going to find out if we stop dating them. If a person can't sit there and say, hey, I'm wrong, or not even that I'm wrong. If you bring up a point to me, let's say we're in a relationship and you bring up a point and say, Xavier, this made me feel a certain way. And I'm like, oh, well, I don't see that. Right? Because in my brain, my dude brain, I'm like, that doesn't make any sense to me. I'm still, as your partner, supposed to say, well, I don't understand, but I acknowledge what you say, and I trust you. See, a lot of people don't trust and respect each other.
Yeah, that's true.
So if I respect you, I'm supposed to say, that doesn't make sense, and I don't quite understand, but I acknowledge it, and you know what? I'll make adjustments anyway.
Well, honestly, let's be real. That's how you decipher who's using you and who actually wants a relationship with you. That alone will tell you everything you need to know. I actually made a quote about this once. I was like, tell someone how they've hurt you. The response will tell you everything you need to know. But it's the same with relationships. Tell someone, hey, this bothered me. Hey, I don't like that. Hey, I'm not comfortable with this. See how they respond, because somebody who wants a relationship with you, somebody who is actually wants friendship with you too, is going to go, oh, tell me more. Oh, tell me why. Oh, let's talk about that. Let's communicate through this. A person who's just using you, who's just trying to look for a good time, is going to be like, you're too much. You're too needy. You're too clingy. You're too this. You're too that. I don't have time for this. I got to go. I'm not talking about this. They're going to deflect every time.
See, I'll even add on to that. I could say, because I love what you said, I could say a person could want you, not for you, but they won't respect you. And this is the foundation a lot of women will tell me in my sessions is, I was waiting on him to change. I was waiting on him to improve this and to change. I would say this. Number one, if you're in a relationship with someone and your point of being there is for the potential for them to change something they haven't shown you enough, then in my opinion, you can't truly love them. Yeah. You're not loving them.
They're not your person.
And so they say, I love him. You don't love him, because if you did, you would be accepting of all of him and you wouldn't require these changes.
Well, here's the thing. No one's perfect.
Exactly.
We're all flawed. We all come into a relationship with our own baggage, with our own stuff, with our own imperfections, with things that we need to grow in and learn from, right? No one's perfect, right? But if the core of who a person is doesn't feel good to you, that's not your person. Because if they mess up, now you're trying to change them. Now you want them to be different. The core of who a person is should be the thing that draws you to them. The core of them, who they are as a human being. And if you are truly in love with who they are as a person, the mistakes are forgivable. The imperfections are forgivable, because you're like, I'm not perfect either. We all make mistakes.
Yeah. Well, see, what happens is I think that there's a significant thing that they don't like about this person. Like they'll say, oh man, this person can't communicate. Whenever I try to talk about things that are emotional, they reply with anger and hatred and all these things. And they said, I just want to change that because I've seen the good moments. And I'm like, but doesn't that technically mean that's who they are and you're not accepting it? How many times are you going to give it a chance before you say, this is who they are?
Yeah.
For me, it's 2 or 3.
Yep.
2 or 3 times you do the same thing, that's probably who you are, and I need to learn how to accept that or not.
That's a good point.
And if I can't accept that, then that means I don't accept you. So then this same person gets away with it multiple times, and they know it hurts you. Especially like what I hear from my clients, which are women, these guys, they don't. They hear you. They hear you say, I don't like that. This hurts, all these things. But then they'll do it again and you put up with it. You know what these guys say behind your back? They come to the bros and they're like, yeah, she told me to say that a bunch of times, but I ain't doing it. She still sticks around. They joke about, they know. And we can
do they really?
Oh yeah. And then you'll hear some of these dudes, they know, but they try to play dumb. They'll tell you, oh, I don't know because I didn't get love as a child. Not saying that doesn't exist. It does exist. There are some men that are broken. But in my opinion, they probably shouldn't be dating. They should be going to therapy, which a mass amount of them don't. Yeah. In fact, therapists make up about 70% of the industry. 70% are women. And then we've got a short stock of men. And then they'll say, well, men aren't supposed to worry about feelings. I'm like, but how do we process them? That's why we kill ourselves at 3 times the rate. That's why we have issues. That's why we go nuts, because we don't know how to process it. I agree. A man should be strong and confident, especially for the woman he's with. He should have a grounding that makes her feel secure. Yeah. But he should not be going ape nuts and crashing out. Yeah, I agree. Needs to learn how to process it. What do I do with this anger? What do I do with this hatred? But see, what happens is he doesn't respect his own self to go through that process, or he doesn't know because he hasn't had the opportunity. Gotcha. But then when you say how you feel, because he's devoid of his own emotions like society will teach men. They teach men to be devoid. So then when they hear a woman talk, they're like, oh, well, that sounds like an emotion. I was told as a man to not be emotional, so I'm not going to even listen to you.
And you're too emotional.
Yeah. And then they don't respect it. You cannot change a person that doesn't respect you. And then, so I'll hear women say, well, he's been through a lot. He doesn't know better. He doesn't know that he's even doing it. He's unaware, Xavier.
We all know better.
He's unaware. I'm like, you said it 10, 15 times. He knows when he goes to work and he talks with his boss. He doesn't worry about his emotions. He worries about getting it right.
Yeah.
I put my seat down. I'm getting crazy. But like, yeah. So he's just like, I got to fix it, bro. I got to make this money. If he's not looking at you like that, if he's not like, I should listen to her, or, man, this relationship is going to take a turn. If you don't trust her enough to say that or respect her enough, you don't need to be here. But see, women will sometimes, I see them gaslight themselves and say, they give him these excuses and these passes. And then he gets even worse. I'm like, it's not that he can't change. It's not that he didn't hear you. It's that he didn't respect you. And the longer you spend time with a man that doesn't respect you, the more you start to lose respect for yourself. Because then when you exit this, you're going to be like, I wasn't worthy enough. And it's not that. It's that this man wasn't yoked with you. So, sorry.
Did you do it again?
Yeah, no, I keep messing with the seat. Seat madness. So, that's what's been happening. So that's why I say the whole, I can change him, I can change her. It's the same thing for dudes.
Yeah, no, same. It's like
dudes will meet girls and they'll meet them at these what they consider low points and be like, I can save her from this. I can get her where she needs to be. Here's the thing. If you're going to change someone, let's talk about what that really looks like. Number one, you better be better than them at that. If you're going to say, I want this person to be more emotionally intelligent and more communicative, then you better be excellent. You better not get mad at anything if you're going to teach this person. Number two, they got to respect the hell out of you. Yeah. They got to say, I look at you and I don't even question. When you tell me jump, I say how high. If that person doesn't talk to you like that, there's no chance of you changing them.
That's facts.
Number three, you can't be someone's coach and be their partner. Yeah. Choose a job. They need to go to therapy. If they can't get it right, they need to go seek guidance.
Yes, from someone else.
Yes, because you're the partner. You're supposed to love and support and show influence. You're not supposed to be the Build-A-Bear.
And you can't save someone who doesn't want to save themselves.
No. And but see, that's where the gaslight comes in at that point, because they're like, well, they do want to do it. They just don't know how. And I got to give them time. And it's like, no, if a person wants something bad enough, do you see how fast they move and make changes?
If they're actually afraid of losing you, They're not going to put themselves in a position to do so.
Yeah, and they're not going to keep making it so you leave and then they beg you back, right? They're going to get it right the first time or they're going to work overtime to make sure. Which is one of the reasons why, I look at the dating field now and I'm like, man, but see, here's what the thing is. People don't realize on both sides, and in particular men, when you sleep with someone that quickly, there's a promotion that just happened, right? You like someone, you meet them for the first time. There's certain things that they know they can't access to you. Your energy, your body, all these things. When they get more access, they feel like they've been promoted and solidified, especially these simps. That's why they fight for sleeping with you, because they want to become CEO of your life overnight, where in their own personal lives, they couldn't become CEO of nothing.
And honestly, that's a huge red flag. A huge red flag is a man that comes in immediately trying to get something from you without even knowing who you are first.
Yeah.
Like if a man is trying to pressuring you, talking about it constantly, and it's like a big thing, the big elephant in the room every time you see him and it's only been a week, red flag. He's not there for you. He's there for one thing and it isn't you. It isn't you. Run. Let's take a quick break for me to tell you about Simply Worth It, a clinic of trusted nurse practitioners who are focused on personal weight management, optimizing your health, and working with what your body needs to build confidence through safe and effective medical solutions. Simply Worth It is different than all the rest because they only hire nurse practitioners, not just medical assistants or nurses. With these skilled practitioners, they are able to provide a safer, more specialized service to get you to your specific goals. They have 3 locations that are going to serve you in Wentzville, St. Peters, and South County. Visit simplyworthit.com. That's Simply Worth It, WURTH it.com, to set up your new patient consultation today. If you want a relationship, if you want someone who values you, if you want someone who has respect for you, if you want somebody who actually cares about your heart and your soul, you better run. The second that comes up, if it's before he even knows who you are.
Well, see, that's one of the things, right? Is that I agree with you 100%. But some people want love so much.
I know. I've been that girl. I've been that girl.
It's the two fantasies.
Yeah. You think, well, if I do this, we'll be closer. If I do this, he'll like me more. If I do this, we'll keep dating, right? But that's the self-worth part.
Yeah, because if you want to know what a genuine relationship look like, look at your friends. Look at your girlfriends. And guys, look at your bros. How do y'all act? Is there this expectation that I'm always going to do something to get your love? Or is it that, hey, we just love each other as friends. You show up, I show up, we're good. There isn't this whole superficial pre-action steps, preliminaries that we have to show each other. It's like a presentation and a performance that exists now in the dating field. Whereas it should be, we just show up as people. We've gotten so convoluted with superficial values that we don't see each other anymore. I don't know your heart, you don't know mine. We can't even get to that level of depth anymore. So that's why people they're fumbling this, because they're like, oh, I thought you had enough money. I thought you looked good enough. But it's not enough.
It's not enough.
Unless you're signing up for one night. But then at that point, it becomes a transaction, which a lot of people act like they're in transaction relationships. They don't act like they're in genuine, unconditional type love situations. And there's always going to be conditions, but you know what I mean.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, there should be some conditions, right? I mean, if we're realistic, like the only people that you should have true unconditional love for is your kids and your parents and maybe your siblings, maybe.
Yeah, but. Exactly. So that's mainly what it is. It's just a lot of it's
So okay, knowing all of that, let's talk about how do we protect women from this, right? What are the things women can be doing for themselves? And then on top of that, what are the things that men need to change to make it dating culture like genuine again? Because that's the thing, you're talking about all these men who are like, I thanks to all the simps, all the good girls have been screwed over and are jaded now, right? So how do we hold men accountable? What do they need to be doing?
Men need to do a better job of holding other men accountable, publicly and privately. And I'm not saying we all have to be perfect. There's going to be simps. There's going to be manipulators, no matter what we do, right? I've been calling them out for years, and they seem to just grow in numbers. So they're like weeds. You kill one, and 4 more come up. So, I mean, but I think if we band together and we call out this, and then we don't become the thing we hate, right? We can't call women out for any kind of behavior and place this double standard when we're doing the same thing. In the shadows or however, right? You can't say this person's bad, but I'm good. because that's just going to perpetuate that double standard energy. How women can protect themselves. So I don't, discernment.
Trusting your intuition.
Yeah.
No, we talked about this yesterday, and this is so important. And I put this message out here all the time because I wish I had known this at 20 years old. If you don't know what you need in a partner, you will tolerate anything because you don't know what you're even looking for, right? You don't even know to look for red flags when you don't actually know what's good for you, right? And admit this is for men and women, but you should know these are the traits that I need to feel loved. These are the core values that I need to feel in alignment with someone. These are the personality traits that make me feel happy. Like these are the things I need in a partner. I need a good communicator. That's a non-negotiable. I need somebody, if you're religious and you want somebody who's religious, like I need someone who will go to church with me every Sunday and it won't be a fight. Like compatibility matters, and knowing what you want in a partner and what's actually going to fulfill you in a relationship is so important before you start dating and looking for someone. Otherwise, you're just going aimlessly and you're just testing out different people. And then you're like, I don't like that. Oh, I didn't like this. Well, you know what I mean? Like if you know exactly what you're looking for, you're going to be more selective. And there's nothing wrong with waiting. And I said this to you yesterday. I would rather be 50 years old, finding the love of my life, knowing they're compatible and they're a good fit for me, than waste the next 20, 30 years on a bunch of relationships with people that aren't good for me at all. I would rather wait. I
agree.
But I'm also building my own life. I'm also doing my own thing. I'm also learning to put myself first and prioritize the purpose of my life before romantic love. Do I have space for it? Yeah. Will I make space for it? Yeah. But that's still a priority too.
Well, see, that's the common occurrence, right? And everything you said is beautiful, but I agree. Patience. Patience is something that doesn't happen on both sides.
Yeah.
I want it now. I want love now. Oh, well, you could get this back, Ashley, but I don't find those men. They don't exist. Every guy I've met.
They do exist.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what they'll say. And then it almost justifies and enables. I could be impatient and choose a project guy, a guy that has to build into it. Here's the thing. Not every guy is like this because he had a bad childhood.
Yeah.
Not every guy is dysfunctional because he doesn't know how. Some of these guys are just a-holes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, we got to stop assigning this reason, right? Like, even some of these guys are not narcissists. They just don't care about how they make you feel.
Yeah, that's the empathetic trap.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. But they'll tell you that and have you in this perpetual loop. If someone is really trying to get out of it, they're going to be doing it themselves.
Yeah.
And the second you give them a little bit of information, they're going to be like, yo, I gotta get that going. So they'll pick the project and then, yeah.
Facts.
So that's what I mean is they feel like, they can't find that. And they're not patient, and they also have low exposure, low opportunity. And then there's distractions everywhere. So you've got all these things mixed in, which, by the way, I see a lot of blame going on social media, to social media. Porn and social media are blamed a lot for why people can't date seriously. Because they're like, there's too many options and too many distractions. My opinion is that there's always going to be something that people have access to where they can go with their vices and where they can go feed whatever hunger that you have. But you as a person need to have enough adult in you and maturity to say, this isn't working with my spirit. This is not what I want. You going there and you visiting it, you clicking the button and you searching it is what the problem is. If social media is making you feel overwhelmed with options and you feel like you're not getting anywhere, then get off of it. If porn isn't helping you and it's messing you up, get off of it.
Well, and it is, so let's be honest.
That's what I'm saying, but they're blaming it. I blame the person.
It's a choice.
Yeah, exactly, because you have a choice not to go there. You have a choice not to seek it out, but you're choosing to. Because then I'll have women who are in marriages that come up to me and they say, Xavier, my husband, he watches so much porn and the porn is ruining the marriage. I'm like, it's not the porn, it's him. He's going on there and he's choosing it. Blame him, right? He could choose to make you his porn, but he's choosing that. And see, that's what I mean. He's been indulging so much in his lust that he can't even settle with one woman. He can't even look at you as a person. He's objectified a woman so much that that's all he sees is an object. And he tries to fool himself in thinking that you are a person. But he's gone so far off the track that he can't even get there. It's like a drug after a while. So we need to think of, like I said, it's what we're doing is coming to fruition eventually. When the moment comes for you to show up, Your discipline matters more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
You want to find a good man, you want to know what a good man looks like or a good woman looks like? Sorry, discipline.
Mm-hmm.
The more disciplined the person is, because we're not saying be perfect.
Yeah, with their values and their morals.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And their goals and their purpose.
Mm-hmm.
If they are disciplined and staying on it and they're saying, I'm not going to let these instant gratification, this attention, all of this stuff get to me, that's a person that's more worthy.
Mm-hmm.
But you also better be making sure that you are emulating that too.
Well, yeah.
Because a lot of people aren't disciplined and they want a disciplined person.
Mm-hmm.
And then they say, why can't I match with that energy? Why am I not getting that? The dating field sucks. Because you're not being that person.
Yeah.
You're not patient. You're saying, well, I haven't met that person in a year. I might as well just give Joe Schmo a chance. And it's like, well, that's what you did. You settled right before you probably had gold coming your way.
Yeah.
Maybe that was your test. Let's see how long you could be patient. Let's see how long you can maintain your behaviors.
I heard this one time. It was so good. It was like, the test isn't being able to walk away from an abusive relationship or a toxic relationship or a relationship that isn't for you. The test is being able to walk away from a person who has everything you want, knowing that you have to, because they're not in alignment with you. And that really got me thinking too, because like, just because someone has certain qualities doesn't mean they're good for you. And that really does matter. Like, compatibility is important. Compatibility over chemistry, yeah. Being able to walk away from a good thing just because it's not the right thing is the true test.
Well, that's the thing, is that a lot of people prioritize how they feel over logic, and they wonder why they get burnt. Feelings are not always...
And both come into play, right?
They do, but I think that feelings have been hyped up way too much, because feelings can be manipulated. Feelings aren't quantifiable. I could tell you I love you. How are you going to prove that? I can't put it on a table and draw a measure. So then I don't even know it. I don't even know how big my love is. That could change from one moment to another, like happiness. Happiness is an emotion, but it's also a revolving door. I'm happy for an hour because I ate French toast, and then I got on the road and somebody cut me off. I'm not happy right now.
True love is devotion.
That's what I'm saying, regardless of how you feel sometimes. Pay attention to how you feel, because it's a good indicator. But when you say, I prioritize this emotion over every other important thing, every other piece of logic, I just ignore logic completely, that's going to destroy you, because feelings fluctuate and they're fickle. So sometimes you got to... It's okay to have a feeling. I love feelings too. But put it to the side sometimes and say, what logic?
Well, especially in the beginning of dating. The beginning of dating is like, you're not trying to fall in love when you first meet somebody. I mean, you want to. Yes, it's we watch all these romantic movies, yes, it's there. But you're getting to know, is this going to be a good fit for me? Is this person going to make sense in my life? Is this person going to fit with my family? Is this person going to fit with my lifestyle? Or is this going to make sense? And that's where you're like, the logic party has to like get really honest with yourself. Like, I'm looking for the right partner for me, not love right now. Love will come, but right now, is this a good person for me? Right? And then you can allow love to kind of come in, right?
I love what you said. There is research that was done that says when a person starts to feel that love, there are chemicals that go off in their brain, especially when they get physical.
Mm-hmm.
We joke about it. We call it the love goggles. There's actually a Harvard study, I think, that says, you shut down discernment. The discernment part of your brain actually starts to shut down once you meet a person you like. In a way, I think that's great, because, you don't want to be that on top.
You can't be all logic.
Yeah. But the problem is that we give that moment too early. There are things happening that we don't even know. When we indulge too quickly and look for that instant return, then those chemicals come into play, and we're like, man, I'm into this person. But that's why I say, if you resist trying to get to that physical layer as much as possible, you can have the discernment. I'm not saying don't do it because I'm some freak about it. I'm saying I want to give you discernment so that you can say, this person sucks. Because sometimes it's happened to me.
Before you've already slept with them.
Yeah, exactly. Like, sometimes I'll get so cuddled up within the first 30 days and I'm like, man, this is awesome. Then they show me something in 2-3 months and I'm like, ew, but the cuddle was awesome. But so then I can't even separate. And then it activates a layer of depth that you might not be able to get out of. Why am I hooked on a person that is logically an awful choice for me? Because you've indulged too much.
And who a person is matters more than what they can give you.
Yes.
And that's what you got to be focused on. Who are you? Not what am I going to get? Who are you as a person?
Exactly.
That's what I want to know, right?
But, I think that, like I said, feelings of all categories, like my emotions, the physical, the instant return, we go without it so long that it creates a little bit of a void. And that void is the equivalent to like, I go to Walmart hungry. Now everything look good,
Especially for men, I think, because they're so physically driven.
Man, I think men are missing a big opportunity here when they do that. I think that they're setting themselves up because the men that are sitting at home just worried about getting their physical needs met all the time, they're checked out.
Yeah.
They're like, they don't care because they're just trying to indulge. They just want to release all the time.
I heard the guy one time, I don't remember who it was, but he was talking to a group of men and he said, where would you be if you weren't driven by lust? Where would you be in your life if you weren't driven by lust? And I was like, whew. Because it's true. Like so many men they're so driven by lust that's why they become the simp. That's why they're unsatisfied with their life. That's why they don't have a real career. That's why they don't know who they are. They're so driven by lust that they literally don't even have time to think about like the vision for themselves, who they want to be, who they are, how they can build themselves and grow and evolve and mature, right?
There are men throughout the history of time that have been powerful or had potential to be really big, that because of lust, they lost everything. They were killed. They lost their businesses. They lost their livelihoods. They lost great women in marriages. They lost their kids because they were so driven by lust. Mm-hmm. It's a trap.
It's a trap.
That's what I'm saying.
And it doesn't benefit anyone. It doesn't benefit women either. Women are the ones that have to pay the price as well.
And then in return, it becomes a vicious cycle because now the woman who was on the other end of that, who thought that maybe there might be a genuine connection, gets burnt. So then she's like, what? We're the dudes out here that are genuine. I can't tell the difference. Mm-hmm. So it takes you so far away from your potential. And then if you're in lust, you're not practicing purpose. So then you meet someone. See, this is just my opinion. If you get married as a guy, especially to a woman in particular that says, I want you to lead. Because there's a lot of women that say that. I want the man to be the leader. First of all, this whole alpha thing, I don't know. David Meck, I think back in 1970, wrote a book, and he talked about the alpha concept. He said it was wolves in an enclosure. Captivity. And then it was that particular captivity that made the one alpha of the group come up. But then he went out into the wild years later, 2 or 3 decades later. Yeah. And then he said that wasn't true. Mm-hmm. There wasn't one fighting for the top. It was 2 parents and a family. And then after a while, a child would go off and make a new family that would become a new pack. So typically the packs are families. So I don't know where the alpha thing came up with, where they're like, dudes are like, I'm the alpha, I'm the man, I'm the leader, you submit to me. First of all, in the Bible, because they would love to use that, it says we submit to each other. Mm-hmm. So I don't know why they keep missing that part. Mm-hmm. But if you have a wife and you're following purpose and you want to make her feel like she can be soft, right? You should be disciplined. You should be grounded. You should be able to give her that emotional safe space, right? I'm not just saying tolerate any old thing, but I'm saying be the example.
Yeah.
And a lot of these dudes, well, it's on both sides. I think there are women that aren't picking dudes like this, and there are men that aren't this. So it's kind of like it's this loop. There are men that are acting like they can do that. And so if you follow your purpose, then when a marriage is going in a certain direction, but you are still on top of your game, then she can feel like I can depend on you. I can rely on you. You're safe for me. You stay above water no matter what. Not saying I'm supposed to be perfect, but I can be somebody that you could depend on. If I'm going to lead, I got to lead by example and influence. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm not going to be your boss and your dictator. I don't even need to do that. Yeah. I can show you based on who I am. And because I have discernment as a man, I know what type of woman is going to be able to be in alignment with me. Mm-hmm. But that discernment comes from me not following lust. Mm-hmm. See, lust disrupts my discernment because I'm only chasing one thing. Mm-hmm. And that one thing is nowhere near the measure of the whole picture. That's why now I'm like, this has been a lie to me this whole time.
It's interesting. Lust, what did you say? Lust disrupts what?
Discernment.
Yeah. And for women, love disrupts discernment. Because women are driven for love. Mm-hmm. Men are driven by lust. That's like, imagine a world where instead of men being driven by lust and women being driven by love, we were all driven by our purpose. our individual purpose.
Man, do you know how great this world would be? We would dismantle governments. We would dismantle stores because we'd be so worried about making sure that everybody has what they need. We'd be serving each other. Mm-hmm. We wouldn't need outside providing. Yeah. Because we'd be looking after each other. Mm-hmm. That would be.
Sorry, I just had to throw that out there real quick.
No, it was a good one.
So I was like, that's
how two people should be in a marriage. It shouldn't be about just me or just you. It should be, what do we do for each other? I have your back and you have mine.
Exactly.
Yes, I have
I'll serve you and you'll serve me, and then we're both fulfilled.
Exactly. And there's
and I'll serve myself.
And I'll serve myself.
And I'll serve myself when I need to serve myself. Yeah.
And there's unwavering trust.
Or rather, I'll serve myself and fill my needs so that you aren't responsible for them. And what I have overflowing, I will give back to you.
Same here. You know, it's like pouring from a full cup or a halfway full, whatever. But pouring from an empty cup, I should never make you feel like that. But see, if I'm a guy that really cares about you and I really love you, then I'm going to notice when your cup is empty. And I'm going to say, hey, I don't need you to do this for me right now. I'll hold down the fort and we'll get you back to where you need to be. Mm-hmm. You know, because as a partnership, you're going to have your moments. And I'm gonna look after you.
Exactly.
But that's why the most important thing for me to do is know you outside of myself.
Amen. That's why friendship is so important. That's why foundation is so important.
Because there's no expectation. I'm never going to expect you or feel entitled to you. It's a blessing to have you. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to say, hey, I'm glad that you're with me on this journey. But I'm never going to say, I expect you to just do this. I'm going to say, hey, it's nice. Right? And then once you get into that energy, the relationship flows a lot better. The problem is people come in, all these expectations. You're a woman, I'm a man, we're supposed to do this. No, it's whatever you two as individuals decide. That's why I say it's a construct between you and that person. I think Steve Harvey said marriage should be a two-handed circle.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah.
I love me some Steve Harvey.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, he's a good guy.
On a different topic.
Yeah, no.
I do love me some Steve Harvey.
Yeah.
Get me on your show.
Me too.
Yeah. Me too. But anyway, no, that's very true. I want to talk about you were talking about this is totally different switch of topic. I don't know what time we're at, but
it's been an hour and 20. Let's go.
So I want to talk about this before we get too concluded here. Is you were talking earlier about or yesterday about like all the women that you know that dress a certain way.
Okay, so
what was that? What was that whole thing about?
So I'm gonna let you take this one, but so there online, there is God, how did I say it? I'm trying to be politically correct here, but there is a whole war going on between men and women, right? Where they're saying that I should be able to be in a marriage and I should be able to be in a relationship and I should be able to go out and dress a certain way. And that should be okay with my relationship, my boyfriend, my husband. And if he's not okay with that, then he's insecure. They will say that. They will say, I should be able to be in something that is, let's just say, revealing. And I should be able to maintain that marriage and boyfriend. I should be able to have a guy that's there for me no matter what. And if he says anything against this, he is controlling, he is insecure, he is not a good man.
Okay. So, and this was the point that I wanted to make. There are 3 different types of women when it comes to the way that we dress, right?
Take it away.
And maybe you all will agree. But, and hear me out. I just saw this post yesterday about this guy you showed me this, about the guy blaming a woman for getting assaulted because of the way she dressed, which is complete BS.
That's crazy. But there,
complete BS.
You see the comments?
It doesn't matter how the way a woman dresses does not give anyone access to them. And that does not give you a woman's no is a woman's no. It does. I don't care if she's naked. I don't care if she's walking around, which let's not do that. But if a woman's walking naked on a trail, that doesn't give someone permission to take advantage of her, right?
100%.
But that's another topic for another day. But there are women who dress for themselves. Right? These are the kind of women who most often, and this is me generalizing, but most often they're quirky. They wear what they want. They're like super into fashion. They wear the bright colors, the bright patterns because they're dressing for themselves. It's their expression. It's who they are. It's what they are just themselves. They don't care who likes it, who does. They're just dressing to express who they are, right? There are women who dress for other women. These are usually the women that are following the trends, right? They want to look cute. They want to feel pretty. They want to look nice wherever they go. They want to fit in. They want to they want to be a part of the culture around them, right? And I kind of fall between both. I've fallen under all of these categories. But then there are women who dress for men. Okay. And that's usually what you're talking about. You're the women that, they go to a club, everything's hanging out. Now, I'm not villainizing that. I'm not demonizing it. I'm just saying what it is. Right? That's not me judging it.
Yeah,
that's not me critiquing it. I've been there too. I've done it too.
They say they don't dress for men though. They even, no matter what they wear, they're like, it's still for my girls.
Well, let's dissect this. Mm-hmm. Okay. If you're not dressing for men, right? Then why would you wear something that draws men in more?
They say it's confidence.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just saying what they say. They're like, oh, it's because it makes me feel confident. It makes me feel like better. And it's for my girlfriends. And if guys happen to look, that's on them. It's nowhere needed for men whatsoever.
Okay. And maybe I'm different. Maybe I'm different here. But
it could be a personal opinion, like how you feel personally.
I'm going to dress depending on, right, if I'm single and all these different things. The way if I'm going to my girlfriend's house and that's just me and a group of girls and we're getting together, I'm going to probably have pajamas on, right? I'm going to be dressed comfortable. I'm dressed for me. I'm dressed for whatever. Versus if I'm going to a house full, it's all men, which I wouldn't do. But let's just say
house full of dudes.
I'm going to be dressed a little different, right? Let's be real. Let's be honest. Okay?
Okay.
So to say that you don't dress for certain types of people is a lie. Because we do. We either dress for ourselves, we dress for other women to be accepted and seen and to look and feel cute, or we dress to grab attention from men. That's just the facts. It's just the facts. There's really no argument for that. And that's not me saying women can't dress sexy or to attract men. You can. You absolutely can. There have been times in my life where I dressed way sexier. Absolutely dressed way sexier when I wanted attention from men, when I wanted to be seen by men, when I wanted men to be attracted to me. There are absolutely been times in my life where I dressed sexier for that reason. But that was why I was doing it. When I was in my 20s going to the club and I had mini skirts on and high heels and knee-high boots, which I'd wear anyway for fun sometimes, right? But when I was dressing like that in the club in my 20s, I was doing it because I wanted guys to like me. I wanted guys to see me. I wanted them to notice me. That's just the truth. It's just the truth.
So if I could kind of summarize, it's almost like saying there are different categories and women have done this in different categories, potentially. And there could be some women in the midst that are actually dressing for other men, but won't admit it.
Yeah. Even
though they're in a relationship or a marriage where the guy
But here's my thing about the relationship portion, and this is probably going to cause some controversy, and maybe
we've already passed that point. Have you seen me this whole thing?
But here's my thoughts. This is my thoughts.
Okay.
My opinion. Don't crucify me, okay? But if I'm in a super solid, steady relationship, and I'm going out with my girlfriends, and I'm happy, why do I need to dress so sexy that I'm drawing all this attention, right? Why? I'm just asking. It's a question. What would I want to draw attention for if I'm in a very happy relationship? Now, there's a difference between wanting to feel sexy and looking nice, right? And I want everything out. I want my boobs are out, my ass is out. There's a big difference. And you know it. You know it when you're putting on that dress. Whether you're trying to look pretty or you're trying to draw attention, you know, right? Hey. And furthermore, If it was me, if I was on the other hand, on the other foot, if I'm in a happy, committed relationship and I'm a man and my girlfriend, my wife comes in and she's wearing, let's just say she's basically wearing a bikini to the club. And I know she's going to the club. And I know the kind of guys that are there. I know because I've probably been one of them before in my lifetime, right? I'm going to feel insecure about that. I am. And it's not even necessarily about her. It's not even necessarily that I don't trust this person per se. It's because I know how guys are. I know how men are. I know how men cross boundaries constantly. I know how men will hit on women who they will touch them when they don't have permission to. I wouldn't trust the men with my person out there with everything out, right? So it would be, for me, if I was the male, it'd be more of a protective thing than it would be an insecurity.
Yeah, that's usually what it is, but we get gaslighted because we're told that we're insecure. And, speaking on behalf of that, we feel funny about dudes in general because we know that there's a mass amount of them that we can't trust. Like I said, Bad Baby, Lil Tay made $1 million in the first day they went on OnlyFans after they were 18. There's a mass amount of men that are looking at women under the age of 18 in a lustful way. And these are men of all ages. Millions. We know that as men. We know that these men go there. So when our girlfriend or our partner or wife goes out to certain places or certain areas, we get scared because we're like, you want me. And this is in the case that women will say, well, I want you to be a protector. I want you to be a provider. If you want me to protect, this is within bounds of protection, right? We all have a different idea of what that looks like as different men. But it's not that we're trying to be controlling. It's that we know this exists. So now we're terrified of what those people are going to do.
But here's the other thing. It really depends on the man, too. Because there is the man that's like, you're not allowed to go out. You're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to wear this because I don't trust other men, but they're doing it in a manipulative way. It's not really even about the other men. It's because they are truly insecure. Versus the man that loves you, that doesn't want anything bad to happen to you. You know what I mean? There's a huge difference, and you can feel it.
Well, that's the thing is...
Because I've dated guys like that, where it's like if I looked pretty or nice, and I don't even dress like provocatively, but if I was like really nice and meeting my friends and they were like really insecure about what I was wearing, but I knew it was a manipulative tactic. It wasn't true concern for me. It wasn't true protection or love for me. It was, I don't want other guys to like you, because if other guys like you or see you and think you're pretty, then you're going to realize what a loser I am.
I don't think, and here's the thing, I agree those dudes exist, but if that's the case, she would get a dude no matter what she does. She could wear a hijab, she could wear a burqa, and dudes are still going to try her. It doesn't matter what she wears.
Maybe.
So, like, that's what I'm saying. So if they're like, I'm just doing it because I'm afraid you're going to pull somebody, then you don't need to date her. If you don't, I think that's more reflective on you as a man than on her.
That is insecurity.
You know what I'm saying? Because are you not doing your part in this relationship?
The most insecure man is a man who knows he's not doing what he should be.
Exactly.
The most insecure man is a man that knows he doesn't treat you the way you deserve. They are the most insecure men in the world.
Yeah, and they're usually like that on their own too. Because it starts with them. I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing for my own life. I'm not serving my own purpose or climbing the ladder in any way. So I'm insecure just as a person before you even got here.
And I feel lucky that I even have you, but I'm going to treat you like you're a piece of crap because I don't want you to know how lucky I feel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then, honestly, they're probably just even using this relationship as an ego boost to begin with. So I agree with you. I think that, they need to be doing a better job. But
my hope for women, like when it comes to like the way that we dress, here's the thing. We think that, and again, this is just my opinion. I don't judge it. I don't care. I love women. I love women. I love them all. I love the idea of freedom, of sovereignty, of independence. I love all of that. I'm all for women. But like when it comes to like OnlyFans and porn culture and things like that, I think they're deceived in believing that is a freedom. I think that they're deceived into believing that that's how they get ahead, because the truth is you're only catering to those kinds of men by doing that, by giving them access to parts of you for free. And I don't agree with that. I don't agree that that's empowering at all. And it's not a judgment. It's not me saying that I wouldn't go to someone who's making $1 million and be like, you shouldn't be doing that. It's your decision to make. But I don't believe it's actually an empowerment for women at all. I think what empowers women is them getting to a place in their life where they don't need a man to be fulfilled. They don't need a man. They can build their own path and their own legacy and their own purpose. And that's not to say they shouldn't have a partner. That's not to say, you know what I mean? But like a woman's true power lies in her ability to find purpose outside of what she can offer a man with her body. That's what I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, because especially with the guys that are just looking for that.
Yes, because women are more than just their bodies. They're more than a nice rack. They're more than a nice ass. They're more, you know what I'm saying? They're more than how they look in their lingerie. You're more than that. They're more than that. And so by offering it and selling it and giving it to all those sleazy pedophilic men that we talked about. Pedophilic men. Like you're not giving, you're giving your power away. You're giving them things for free that they never earned or deserved to begin with.
And see, I've had, and like I said, I'm not against what you want to do, what works for you, right?
Right. It's not a judgment. It's just a
judgment. But I've heard some women say that, well, I should be able to do this like a man does and not be judged. And I'm like, hey, I get that, right? However, if you're saying I want a relationship, there are so many men that are just looking for that they will all take that opportunity with you, and it'll be harder for you to meet that relationship because there's so many simps and manipulative guys. So I agree. You should be able to do that, and it should flourish easily. There shouldn't be any problems, but that's not the way the world works.
Yeah, I mean, yes, you have the right.
Right.
But it's not empowering.
Well, it doesn't it's not.
It doesn't help other women either.
And it doesn't hone in on what we're trying to do here. If you're saying I want a relationship, if you say you don't want a relationship and you just want to mess around, that's a different story. Mm-hmm. If you're saying I want a relationship, I want a marriage, I want a functional environment, and you lead with that, and I know there are exception stories because there's going to be someone coming out of nowhere saying, well, me and my wife did it first 15 minutes. We're married 30 years. And I'm like, I get that.
Yeah,
but
right.
I don't talk about exception stories or I'd be fired.
Right.
I talk about what's the majority.
Yeah, I mean, I know people that met and after 3 months they were married and they've been married for 15 years and they're madly in love. I do. So life, every person's story is different.
Exactly. I agree.
But never assume you're the exception. Always assume you're the rule.
I do. I don't.
You know?
I assume I'm the rule, hoping for a potential exception. You know? I'm like, I will work for it. And if you throw me a bone, why not? That's wonderful. But there's a reason why my path is set this way and theirs was set that way.
Yeah.
And I think that could be a product of envy. Like, oh, I want what they have. I'm going to do it like them. Your journey is not going to be like that person.
Yeah.
But you're going to get exactly what you need if you trust the process.
Yeah. So what is if we're wrapping this up, what is the message that you want men to get from this episode? I want men and women. You know, like this is a good one. To understand that there are good men and women out here, mm-hmm. right? And there are plenty of good men. But we are getting a little bit outshined by men that are manipulative and simpaholics. And we are against them too. We don't like them either. And I'm sorry that so many people have experienced manipulation and they're starting to give up. I hope that this is a message to everyone, that there's still hope and there's still people out here that are intentional and genuine. Look at their discipline, look at their values, take a longer time to indulge, and you might see it differently. That's all I got. And know what you're looking for. Mm-hmm. Know what matters to you. Know what's non-negotiable for you before you get in relationships and start dating people. And stick to them. So you know what to look for and what doesn't work. And you don't waste your time. You don't even have to waste your time. You know, when you meet somebody and you know exactly what you're looking for. Now, again, you have to have some sort of compromise, right? No one's perfect. But if you have the core of who you are and what you want in a partnership, you can literally just see that pretty quickly. You can see it pretty quickly. I agree. And I think my message for women too is there are good men out there as well. I agree. There are really good men out there. And when you learn to value yourself and love yourself in a new way and find purpose in your own life, you would be surprised at how things start to look a little different in your love life. You would be surprised because you set the tone for what you allow. You are the one that deciphers who gets in and who has access to you. And when you learn to love yourself enough, you will be quick to cut people off that are disrespecting you. And I wish every woman would learn to do that. I really do. No one deserves access to you that hasn't earned it, that hasn't built a foundation of trust and love and safety and proven themselves. I agree. And as a man too, people are going to earn their space to your body as a man too. We got to stop handing it out like it's candy and creating all of these disasters. We got to ourselves say, dang, does getting physical sound like a good idea right now? What have I seen that proves that this person is worthy of this journey with me? We're not valuing it as men. We're told however many women you have is your value. You got to get surplus women and you're the man. I feel like that was a lie. It was a lie and it's gross. And it's icky. And women don't like it either. It's only brought me drama and chaos and it hurt other women and it hurt other people. Yeah. And it made me a double standard because I was like, oh, I want this wife, but I'm out here doing something with her. And I'm not being, fully transparent. Like this is not working. Yeah. So. Amen on that. Well, I think that's a wrap. I think that is a wrap. That was a good one. Yeah. So that's another episode of This Is Where We Heal. Hopefully it didn't offend too many people. And I'll see you on the other side.